We've been working away pretty hard on our 2003 Yamaha Banshee. It's got a new wiring harness, whole new front end, new front suspension, obviously new tires. There's been a lot done to this bike, and we're going to show you how we got this far. So you can see here, guys, right here, there's two master links, and one's going backwards because they didn't know what they were doing. But we're going to end up getting rid of this chain completely because it's worn out. And this chain might even been the chain that broke and damaged the case. It's not worth, you know, $20 to save 30, you know, just replace the chain. Now, you don't need these. You can do it with a screwdriver, you can do it with a pick, but this one's from Tusk, but you can find one on Amazon, anything, it doesn't really matter. It's just a little pair of pliers that one side is longer than the other. So you can slide it on the pin and on the master link and just pop off the clip. Now we don't need to pop that one because we just got this one, but it makes changing your chain so much easier. So I just want to show guys, this chain was the one that was on the Banshee and it's worn out because look at this, like sitting sideways, there should be like no deflection. I've seen a lot worse, but this one's pretty bad. There's 12 inches of deflection there. So all these little things are oval shaped and it's no good. This chain is just, it's garbage. Okay, not that I haven't done this before personally, in an emergency situation where I've used a nail on like the farm tractor to get the use of a cotter pin because that's what I had out in the field to get it back to the barn. But once you get to the barn or back home from riding, you know, put a cotter pin in and get rid of the nail. That's no good. That nail, it might even be stronger than a cotter pin, but it doesn't matter. It's not what it's supposed to be. Get rid of the nail. You can buy a whole kit of cotter pins at Princess Auto or Harbor Freight, depending on whatever country you live in. For $5, you get 10,000 different size cotter pins. And I'm sure in that kit would have something that would fit. So another big upgrade we're doing on the Banshee is this chain slider, because the original is worn off. It's just a rubber that kind of goes around the swing arm and it's worn off who knows how many years ago. We're lucky on this bike that there's no grooves in the swing arm, but this will take its place and it'll add a superior amount of protection to the chain and help it with its chain life as well. Now I'm not 100% sure how much of a pain in the ass this is going to be to get on there. Am I going to have to remove that shock, or am I going to get lucky and pivot it past somehow enough to get the thing on? I guess we're going to find out. Hopefully we don't have to pull the whole shock, but oh man, that's been greased at least. Oh, the washer, darn it. So I think we might get pretty lucky and we might be able to squeeze that on without having, because we can pivot this pretty good. Definitely be easier if your buddy was over giving you a hand. Yeah, that's what I'll do, is I'll pull off the lower roller because it's kind of holding us up. So we've almost got it completely back together. We're just struggling with getting this bushing back enough to get this giant washer that fell out in there. There we go. There we go. Now I know it was the other way when we originally took it off, but I am like 90% sure that the bolt goes through this way, so that when the kickstart and everything, it's all over here and it's hidden. It's good. So we went ahead and installed a brand new guide to go match with our other top guide, and we actually had a brand new Renthal chain in stock that actually I didn't even need to cut. It just happened to be the perfect size. which is a 1 in a million chance. So we're gonna go ahead and crimp this on there and get that master link finished up. All right, so when it comes to O-ring chains, they can be a pain in the butt. So I have this special little press that you basically just crank it down and it presses the two together, gives it that initial crimp, and then you can pull it off and put on the master link clip, I should say. We just need to get this over in the middle a little bit more. There we go. Don't want to lose our little O-rings. I felt one stick to my hand and then I dropped it, so now I've got to find it. So first we put our little O-rings on. Then you take your little master link plate, right? You kind of set it on there. Now, if it's a non-O-ring chain, you can kind of get away with what do I say, like a pair of channel locks. But an O-ring chain is a pain in the butt. So they need to grip a certain way. So this little tool actually helps quite well. So we need to tighten these down. I don't use a lot of O-ring chains because normally I'm doing a motocross bike. But if you're a big off-road guy, now, some people swear by them. The problem is the price of an O-ring chain is like 200 bucks. And I can buy like 4 normal chains for that. So, I don't know, maybe I'm cheap. So DID makes a great non-O-ring chain. They're really affordable. Even their entry-level chains are really, really good chains. All right. So, because the tire spins this way, we want our clip-on that way, so when it comes through the dirt and comes back up around the sprocket, it doesn't pull itself off in the dirt. That's kind of the important part about putting on a master link. We'll get our master link pliers and clip that on. There it goes, finally. All right, that's her. So we went ahead and we've painted the swing arm skid plate, you know, primer, black, spray bomb, just to make it a little better because it was pretty beat up and I had to bang it off. Now, when we fully restore this frame, when that time comes, we'll obviously get the skid plate done at the same time. Anyway, we've gone ahead and mounted it so we can get the tires back on and get this bike off the jack stands. Now, at the same time, we've installed a parking brake eliminator. The parking brake is just a great big thing. This bike didn't have the cable on it. They usually don't work that good anyway. So we went and got an eliminator. You can buy these things on Amazon, eBay, all sorts of stuff for like 10 bucks. And you can buy one a lot cheaper than you can build one. Now guys, when it comes to tires, there's a million different good brands out there. We just went with some ITP hole shots. Now they're really soft and gummy. They should really help the Banshee hook up. But let's face it, the softer and gummier your tire is, the less, you know, it's not gonna last. Banshees spin the tires constantly and it's gonna smoke these suckers right off, but we're gonna get them mounted so we can get this bike off the stand and we can continue on. We've also got some brand new wheel nuts. I'm not a big fan of putting big fancy wheel nuts on. You don't need them. So we'll just get these on and torque down to spec. One thing we also did, guys, is while we had the exhaust off and the wiring harness isn't 100% wired in yet, we've got a lot of plumbing to do. We went ahead and replaced all the vent lines with new vent lines, new blue for the Yamaha. So I'm not gonna lie, guys, I had to assemble the other side to figure out what I was actually doing. Now, we've got new A-arms and we've got new caps. So, yeah, I am not as experienced on Banshees as I am CR250s, that's for sure. So these caps go on, just like your original stock ones. And then they're like a seal, just like a wheel bearing seal. They're like a seal. When you pump grease into it, they hit that, it oozes out a little bit, but that holds the grease in, kind of stops water from getting in. So we're gonna get this lower A-arm mounted on once we get 2 sets on there. And of course I don't have the bolts ready. And then there's just a rubber, not a rubber, I guess it's a plasticky kind of bushing that holds your other bushing in. There's about 6 different bushings on one of these A-arms. There we go. I had to tap the other one a little bit because it's so tight, like ridiculous tight, but that is probably a good thing. That one's gonna pop off, of course. Oh, don't you do it. Yeah, I have to bend this a little bit. It might be even bent already. Just to help us get it in. That's better. Yeah. But these A-arms are gonna add 2 inches per side. So this whole kit comes with different steering stem hookups and everything. So it's not too bad. You don't want to snuggle any of this down until you put weight on the bike with the suspension and everything. All right, we can put the top one in. We've got everything holding in place. We're going to install our spindle. So take these nuts off. Now the stock ones, I kind of like them better, I'm not sure, than these U-joints, or ball joints I mean. The stock ones have like places you can put a cotter pin. These ones are just a lock nut, which nothing wrong with the lock nut. But I'll be definitely checking it a couple times before I'm 100% satisfied. And again, I'm leaving it all loose because I'm gonna have to take it apart to adjust once we get the suspension in and everything else in, the camber and all that stuff. The stock front suspension was shot on this Banshee. Obviously, just they were never that good. They never worked that good. So we bought some reproduction stock white ones because I was thinking about rebuilding them, but honestly, they're not worth it. You can buy these reproductions for like $100 a set, and way easier, way cheaper than me even trying to go get powder coating done on the spring. Again, everything's loose until we get everything 100%. Now, obviously, I'm gonna get comments, I'm sure, going, how come you didn't buy the Elka shocks? I'm like, well, because I don't plan on like trying to send this Banshee over some 70-foot triple. I'm just gonna ride it. So I didn't need Elka or Fox shocks for $2,500 because that really ups the price of the build when I'm going for a nice clean stock Banshee look. When you're dealing with your steering stem and the ball joints that come out of that, your tie rod ends here, like one of these is gonna be left-handed thread. And obviously it needs to go in the left-handed thread end. Is this in? Is this it? No. This end. Yeah, there we go. So this one's left-handed thread. And when I start, obviously this end has got the wrench end. You want it down so you can actually get a wrench on it. Because once the exhaust pipes are in, you can't get a wrench up in there. It's a pain in the butt. We want to tighten her all the way in. because we don't know the settings that it's going to need. So we're going to do the same on this one. Close to all the way in as we got her. Now, take our washer, we're going to slide it from up underneath, and then we'll put our nut on just to help us hold it there. Now, we can mess around and get this sucker in the steering stem. And again, we're not tightening any of this up yet. We're gonna wait, we gotta get the hubs on, we gotta get the backer plates, all that fun stuff, and get the wheels on. And then we can simply, if it needs one turn, we'll move it one turn, take a measurement, and it'll be all good. But at least we're moving forward. Our next step here with the reassembly is gonna be reinstalling the exhaust so we can plumb the exhaust properly and make sure we have enough clearance for all our wiring harnesses and whatnot. There's about 100 different types of exhaust for a Banshee, and not one of them fit that great. Well, they fit good once they're in, but I actually had to kind of half assemble this in order to, I had to uninstall the pipe in order to get it to fit the plumbing right. And again, I don't really care that I don't like that it doesn't have a proper air box, but that's something we're gonna have to deal with. So we've gone ahead and installed the rear tail light. We've still got some wiring harness issues to clean up, but I really need to get the handlebars switched over. The wiring harnesses ran pretty good. It's away from the exhaust. That's the biggest problem with the Banshee here, is the way this aftermarket exhaust runs. I'm a little worried it's gonna melt the harness, but we'll wait and see, I guess. One thing good about these horrible hard plastic grips is the guy that put them on didn't know what he was doing, and it's good he didn't glue them. So at least they're easy to get off, thank God. But we got to strip everything off, all the controls off the handlebars, so we can get rid of these bent, crappy handlebars and get our new set of Rentals on there. So that's what we're gonna do. I wonder if this side's glued. If we're lucky, it's, oh. So they might have glued the throttle side. We may have to cut it. Crappy things. Okay. Nothing makes me happier than to get rid of these stupid grips. Garbage. Literal garbage. All right. I don't even think this is an actual clutch lever. It's like it's a brake lever put on the wrong side. Like, there's a screw here for a mirror. So we're gonna have to see about trying to get a actual decent clutch lever set up. So we're gonna install our brand new Renthal bars. They're about half the amount of weight, what they feel like, and 10 times the handlebar. So we're gonna take off the pad. I don't know what kind of pad we're gonna run. Probably ditch this black and red one. See what I got. Maybe I got a nice blue one. Something like that. All right. Get these roughly on there. The key with handlebars is maintaining the same gap on both front and back. So I have very little gap on this one and a lot of gap on the back. So we're gonna tighten the back and loosen the front. That looks a lot better. About a 1/16 of gap. This one's pretty close, so we're gonna snug this side down first, actually, on this one. And we'll have to look for the torque spec for these after. I know that they make a lot of good grips now that are just the bolt-on. And I love using the ODI grips. I even hear Renthal has made some bolt-on grips. Now, I haven't seen any yet of the Renthal ones, but let's pretend we don't have bolt-on grips because it's a quad. And I couldn't find anybody with quad grips. They're smaller and they're both 7/8 because you don't have a twist throttle. Well, I don't want a twist throttle on my quad. There's reasons you don't have a twist throttle on a quad, sorry. So this side's easier because it just slides, but the other side's knurled and it can be a pain. So the air is the key. I put air into the grip, it expands the grip, and we simply push. Oh, too much air. Got away on us. We check our end. We'll let the air out because it's there, but we're short. We're about a 1/2 inch, so we got to keep going. There, we're at the end of the bar. Now we're putting our thumb on here because I don't want to poke a hole. It'll get a hole on its own. And we're just releasing the leftover air because it's stuck inside the bars. Just lifting, letting the air out. And then how I like to glue my grips, guys, is I roll the grip back and I put a little bit of super glue. And that way I don't have to fight to take them off and change them. You're gonna wear your grips out way before you wear your bars out. Hopefully, unless you bend them. But that's how you install grips. We bought a complete new ignition for this bike. Hopefully it works really, really good. I think it's gonna. We're gonna tighten that collar up. Just gonna use a pair of channel locks gently because it's just a plastic nut. We don't need to tighten this thing like an axle. There, that's all she needs. Now to see if I'm actually right about half this stuff I've got figured out, if this fuel tank will fit or not, that's the key. And let me tell you guys, I don't really like this at all. I feel like something's bent really bad. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just foolish. I don't know. There's a lot of wires that gotta fit. Everything's gotta fit right down the center line, I guess. Just like that. Just fits tight. We're at a spot with this Banshee where we're trying to get the front headlights working. So we're gonna have to start the bike. So we've got some new fuel in the bike, everything all set up, but the Chinese headlights we bought, cheap Chinese ones that are like 7 or 20 bucks on Amazon, comes with this plug. The problem is the stock one comes with this plug. So we went ahead, hacked them off. We're gonna replace them. But of course, the color combinations are wrong. So we're just gonna fire the bike up. We've got one wired up that I think is gonna work. We'll see if it works. And if it doesn't, we'll play with it. Once we know the color combination, we'll wire the other one up. But we gotta get this bike outside so we can run it. Well, we've got the new fuel lines. We'll turn the fuel on. Fuel's pouring in. It's nice having a red oil in the fuel on the blue line. You can see it very clearly. Don't see any leaks, nothing leaking out of the carbs. Hopefully, this sucker fires up. But we won't know if our wiring harness setup is completely garbage because we've installed the key, but it did run before, so it should run again. Huh. Well, I think part of my issue is I adjusted the kickstart way too far back. So we're gonna have to break this free. Not a big deal. Readjust the kickstart into a better position so we can get more stroke, because I'm only getting like a little bit of and I know it's not enough to kick it. Can't get a full kick, if that makes sense. So I've adjusted it wrong. The old one was rubbing, so just off of rubbing is probably where it needs to be. That'll give us quite a bit more throw in the stroke. Well, we checked a few things, and I guess we'll try again. This bike was a first kick bike every time, so I know the motor's good. It's just a matter of what is going on. On. Oh, yeah, that's it. So what I did do was I switched the coil plugs. Maybe I had them backwards, or the color was different from the other one. So that's what it's going to be. We're going to switch them back and see what happens, because I feel like the left-hand cylinder isn't firing. So high and low beam weren't working correctly. So I had the green to the green. I think that's going to be, I don't know, it's hard to tell, probably a ground. And then I had blue to the black, so I'm going to put white to the black. There's only so many possibilities here, guys. So we're going to throw white on the black. And we're going to put blue on the yellow. We're going to see if high and low beam work correctly. They both worked, but they were pretty dim. So we'll see. So we've got our heat gun out after we've gone ahead and got the shrink wrap on there. We're just going to heat gun these connections so that they all shrink up good, become a good waterproof connection. Shrink tube's cheap. You can buy it on Amazon, you buy it all over the place. You probably have some. I'm just going to push this tube back up. We're going to shrink the whole thing after. Cable up to the right spot, and obviously we're gonna have to zip tie some of this stuff back. We don't want stuff just floating around getting caught in things. Just like that. We get the other side done. As you can see, there was a pile of work done to our 2003 Yamaha Banshee. New tires, new front end, all sorts of stuff. I can't even go through it all, you know. You'll have to obviously watch the video. But tires is where I have a question, and this is where I want you guys to leave a comment. If you guys have a Banshee or are real quad guys, I'm not a quad guy anymore. They're really fun and I like riding them, but I don't know what tires hook up and work the best for the Banshees. Leave a comment down below, let me know, because I'm sure we're gonna smoke these ones off and we're gonna need another set. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.